Hello, this is Theodore at Lies of the Devil. Go to liesofthedevil.com and get involved in the spiritual warfare that we're in right now. It's just a small crew. It's me and my wife, and we have lots of big things coming up, and we're going to make tons of documentaries, and we just ask you, please go support us. Go to liesofthedevil.com. You can donate. Call 520-510-3982. Talk to me personally. You want to pray together? You want to talk about your life? Let's talk about it. Call me. If you want to donate, that would be great. We need donations to build this operation. Okay, we're not going anywhere. We're in this 100%. You can watch a documentary. I'm not going to get into all that. So I want to talk about the Statute of Liberty and the significance of what just happened right before a big protest march for women was about to occur. At midnight, just before midnight, the Statue of Liberty went dark, and the crown was lit up, and the flame that's coming out of her hand. Now, they will tell you, oh, well, it's, the crown is the crown for liberty, the seven, it's seven rays coming out. That's very prevalent in Revelation. Go look that up, the Whore of Babylon. And that the flame is just the flame of freedom, the ever-going flame of freedom, the nonstop flame for freedom. When in fact, these people believe that Lucifer is the good God, Jesus Christ is the bad God, and that Lucifer, they believe the Bible, creation, the whole 9 yards, and they will say, oh, I believe in Jesus, and need to get saved in Jesus, but then they'll go promote a New Age Jesus. Do you know what I'm saying to you? And these people believe that Prometheus they stole the knowledge from God, the flame that she's holding in her hand. Prometheus stole the flame and gave it to the humans, or basically opened up the minds of mankind during creation to see what's really going on in the world, right? The knowledge of good and evil. And that God created man, they believe God created man just like cows. Dumb, couldn't think for themselves, and that he gave us free will, that Lucifer actually gave us free will. This is what they believe, okay? This is what they believe. Now, this is right before a huge Women's Day march, a day without a woman, where essentially all these women, even women in public schools, they have to shut down public schools. It's kind of like, a day without a Mexican march or whatever, where all these Mexicans, this was like 2 years or 3 years ago, where they didn't show up to work because they wanted, these progressives wanted to show you need an illegal immigrant or whatever the case being working on your landscape, blah, blah, blah. So they try to hurt the economy. It's no different what these women are doing, okay? It's the same playbook. Now let's find out who is endorsing these people. MoveOn.org, Sierra Club, Ultraviolet. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a word called ultraviolence, and it's in the film industry. It's actually because I've studied this because I was going to go and I wanted to make movies. So I did a lot of studying on the catharsis effect, and I'm going to make a bunch of information on that later, okay? But in the movie industry, they've got, excuse my language, okay? This show's for teenagers and adults, okay? It's not for children. They've got pornography, okay? And then they've got ultraviolence. They've got the two extremes of human emotion that they are constantly putting in your face because they know it sells. Because they know that we have sinful nature, and they know that we're fallen creatures, and so they sell it to us to keep us in a mode of animalistic behavior. So ultraviolet is a play on ultraviolence. Violet, the color royalty, women, feminism, but violence on the other end. Protest. Loretta Lynch in our previous video came out and said there needs to be blood in the streets. Are you hearing this? So let's go back into who is Ultraviolet? Where are they from? The executive director of Ultraviolet was also the manager of MoveOn's national campaigns director, and she helped she was an organizing director of MoveOn.org. So she did a lot of MoveOn.org. This Shauna Thomas is the executive director of P Street Project, a 501c4, basically Progressive Street Project. You know, they're all these progressive liberals. The campaign director for MoveOn.org. This guy is a consultant, Progressive Strategies LLC, a consulting firm. You know, these people. Let's just hone in on one of these companies. Who is MoveOn.org? Okay, MoveOn.org is George Soros of the Open Society Foundations. It's a philanthropist group that funnels in a bunch of money, $12 billion to date for George Soros, funneling money into individual organizations across the globe fighting for freedom of expression. You know, these women, they say, oh, you know, we need to maintain women's rights. You know, we have to keep fighting for our rights. What are you talking about? You've got the right to do what you... And this country is so amazing. People don't know how bad it is around the world. You have the right to speak. You have the right to do... Don't harm anybody. Don't cause violence. Don't lie to try to push... to try to get other people to break the law. You don't do that. And you know who I'm talking about. If you don't know who I'm talking about, the person that I'm talking about knows I'm talking about them. You don't lie to get other people to break the law for you. You don't lie and use people to try and push forward. You don't lie to people and use them, especially when you're supposed to be a Christian. So you've got these philanthropists that are funneling tons of money into these organizations to try to take advantage of people that don't know that their right is a right. You want to get an abortion, go get an abortion and sacrifice your child to Baal. But don't ask taxpayers to pay for it. That includes Planned Parenthood, which is going to get defunded here pretty soon. Okay? You have the right to be a Muslim. But it's Christians' duties to keep promoting Christian values in order to flood those people out. Okay? Not in a violent way, but to do it spiritually. So this is who George Soros is. Now let's go to a video and let's get his take on what he's trying to do here.
I create is bound to be biased or incomplete.
Intuitive position. He actually thinks for himself, and he's always self-critical.
I know that I don't know all the answers. Whatever frame I create is bound to be biased or incomplete or distorted. The important thing is to be aware and to try to minimize the damage.
He's a giant. He walks very small, careful steps. So people don't hear him going boom, boom, boom. And actually, I think he's quite shy.
That intellectual power that he brings, he sees things.
So this George Soros, you know, that's what the Warren Buffett will lick his little ice cream cone. You know, Rockefeller. When he was David Rockefeller, he was so cutthroat, capitalistic cutthroat, just didn't care. Okay, would watch somebody get. They would take pictures of them holding babies or licking little ice cream cones. They want to come off as very sweet, loving, joyful, just, oh, you know, I'm a pushover for people because I love them. But they are violent, nasty psychopaths. Okay? Think about that. When you're watching a YouTube video and somebody just comes off as, oh, you know, and they just look fake. They look like an actor. It's because they have an act. They're not a real person. They're called psychopaths. We just did a documentary on The Shack and the guy Paul Young. Look at Paul Young. Look at that guy. I feel bad for him. I pray to God that his mind gets straight. He had bad stuff happen to him when he was young, but you know, you get over that. You have God in your life and you get over that. But these people are nuts. All right, we're going to go back to this video, and we're going to talk about who George Soros actually really is. He was a Nazi collaborator. Did you know that? He was a Nazi collaborator.
But knowing there were problems ahead for the Jews, he decided to split his family up. He bought them forged papers, and he bribed a government official to take 14-year-old George Soros in and swear that he was his Christian godson. But survival carried a heavy price tag. While hundreds of thousands of Hungarian Jews were being shipped off to the death camps, George Soros accompanied his phony godfather on his appointed rounds, confiscating property from the Jews. These are pictures from 1944 of what happened to George Soros's friends and neighbors. You're a Hungarian Jew who escaped the Holocaust by posing as a Christian.
Right.
And you watched lots of people get shipped off to the death camps.
Right. I was 14 years old. And I would say that that's when my character was made.
In what way?
That one should think ahead, one should understand and anticipate events, and one is threatened. It was a tremendous threat of evil. I mean, it was a very personal experience of evil.
My understanding is that you went out with this protector of yours who swore that you were his adopted godson.
Yes, yes.
Went out, in fact, and helped in the confiscation of property from the Jews.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, that sounds like an experience that would send lots of people to the psychiatric couch for many, many years. Was it difficult?
Not at all. Not at all. Maybe as a child you don't see.
You know, a Christian's duty is to worship God and to push back evil. That's evil. He has no problem turning. He's a Jewish person. You know why the Jews have such a hard time accepting Christ as the Messiah? Because Christians didn't stand up during the Nazi regime and do the right thing. Then you have this Jew, this Jewish man who was literally turning in his own people, and he didn't care about it whatsoever. There's something really wrong with that. It's evil. And people, if you can't see just how evil that is, there's something really wrong with you. That you have got this guy who his past was turning in his own people, now funneling money through these philanthropic operations to try and take people's rights away by causing violence. He's actually taking people's rights away. He's taking people's rights away. He's not fighting for rights. He's taking rights away. And do what thou wilt. That is the whole of the law. There's the utmost freedom is in the Lord Jesus Christ. When you go down Satan's path, you're talking about death cults. You're talking about people spiritually manipulating you. You're talking about all kinds of just disgusting stuff. Let's go back into this. Oh, saw it wrong one here. So, George Soros is the man behind the Women's March. He gave $246 million to Partners of Women's March. Okay. George Soros, right on cue, Soros financed MoveOn.org holds DC protest. I just talked to you about who's behind that ultra-violent crew, okay? Ultra-violence crew. The only way for Americans to be able to trust that our government can act with integrity, to know that our top leaders aren't compromised by foreign power, okay? Anybody with half a brain understands that the Clinton Foundation was getting funneled. She's a Chinese agent, essentially. They were getting funneled money from they were getting hundreds of millions of dollars from countries that would oppress women, that would kill gays, the whole nine yards. So to make sure our government isn't compromised by foreign powers, but yet you let foreign lobbyists come in here and try to write laws for the American people, and they're giving money to the Clinton Foundation, who in turn is trying to run for office of the presidency. Do you not understand the hypocrisy of all that? Do people not understand the hypocrisy of that? Now, Aleister Crowley, the way of mastery is to break all the rules, but you have to know but you have to know them perfectly before you can do this. Otherwise, you are not in a position to transcend them. So the Statute of Liberty goes out. It's the sign for the Whore of Babylon, okay? The Statute of Liberty goes out right before the March of the Women protest. And then you've got all these evil people backing it. You know, I think that I'm probably going to do a show at nights or in the mornings. I don't know what time, maybe a hour show. And Monday through Friday and maybe even on Sunday, I don't know. But, you know, I ask you, I implore you, please support us. Okay? Spread the links around. We're up and coming. We're brand new. But, you know, with your guys' support and God leading the way, we can push back evil in a lot of ways. And so, go to the public discussion group on Facebook. Just go to Lies of the Devil. It's called Exposing Lies of the Devil. It's a group of about 330 people now. And, you know, I'm going to be taking information from there and people, just things they want to discuss about and making videos on, you know. So it's going to be a huge collaborative effort with Christians around the world. And, you know, just... Let me open up this right here. John 8:3. Let's see here. John 8:16, I believe, or 8:36. I can't remember. No, 8:16. And yet, if I judge, my judgment is true, for I am not alone, but I and the Father that sent me. Okay? Jesus tells you how to judge righteously. Don't let other people tell you what's in this book. They lie to you. They use Bible scripts out of context to try to manipulate you. Okay? You need to get into this word. I'm probably going to start doing Bible studies as well. You know, so we don't, not all this evil is just... You know, have a Bible study that encourages people. God bless. I got a bunch of stuff to do today. Sorry it's so long.